Okay, welcome back to the next episode of how to set up your OBS. And in this video, I'll be teaching you how to actually set up your microphone in a better way and the settings that you can actually use and make you go through the control panel that we didn't explain you properly in the last video. So basically, your microphone will not sound good at the moment when you add it. To make it sound better, you need to go to this little gear icon that you see here, click it and go to filters. Once you go to filters, you will see a blank page like this. Hit on the plus button. You need to add 3 basic filters for your microphone, namely noise suppression. This you can leave it at -30 decibels as it is, you don't need to worry about that. Next, click on plus icon again and click on gain. I will recommend you to set this at 2.40 decibels. The next thing you want to add is a noise gate. Hit on the plus button and click on noise gate. Once you see noise gate, click on OK. According to some internet sources, most microphone works good if this is set to -20 and this is set to -60. This is the settings that probably you should be using as well. Set the attack time to 15 milliseconds and the release time to 100. Click close. So basically your microphone has some filters on it right now, but these filters vary according to the microphone that you use. If you're using a normal microphone that is set on a headphone, you might find that this settings works good for you. Or if you're having a stereo microphone or maybe a USB microphone, this settings might not be the best for you, so you might have to play around a little bit of those settings to get your perfect voice. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the scene transition. So basically, scene transition is something that streamers are going to be using. This is what you see once you switch between two scenes. Now if you see closely, it is set to fade. Means if I set on scene, you see that the scenes slowly fade in and fade out. That is what fade does. If you hit on cut, it just snaps in place, right? So this is how the scene transition works. You can actually add some scene transition over here if you want to, the stinger being the most popularly used by streamers, the fade to color and the swipe as well. Moving on to the next part of the video, let's go to the controls panel. So the first button you see is start streaming. This button you will be using only when you will be wanting to stream. The next button that will be is start recording. This button is used when you want to start recording your videos. The next button you want to use is you will see is the studio mode. Basically this button is used if you are having multi-monitor or multi-computer or maybe even a team to handle your streams. So this is what you preview. So if I set this to scene, this is what I will be seeing, but my audience won't be seeing this. If I hit the button transition, that is when my audience will be seeing a complete black screen. But if I go back to display capture in my preview window and I hit transition again, it will if I hit transition to cut again, this is what going to happen. So basically you don't need to worry about this. Please keep this off because most computers have only one monitor and it's not like you have a separate team to control what you are going to record. So basically this is not what you will be using, but it is good to know what it does, right? The next button is going to be the settings button. So once you actually set the settings, you don't need to fiddle around much once you have set it. So clicking on the settings button will open a window like this. What you will be seeing inside that is some basic general settings in the general tab. there are various tabs in over here: general, stream, output, audio, video, hotkeys, and advanced. So the first thing we'll be going through is the general tab. You don't need to go through every one of this and know what everything does. Basically set this to what it is. You don't actually need to be doing anything over here. You don't need to change anything that is over here, okay? So just keep it as it is. The next tab is stream tab. The next tab is the stream tab. This is what you will be using if you wish to stream on a particular streaming service, like maybe a YouTube or YouTube Gaming, Mixer, or Facebook, or maybe Restream.io, Twitter, Twitch. This is everything that is allowed by the OBS service. If you want something other than the service, click on custom and they will ask you for the credentials of the server and the stream key. Okay, so I'll leave this for YouTube right now, and then you have to grab your streaming key from your YouTube live stream and paste it over here. Okay, so this is pretty much what the stream tab does. The next tab is the output tab. This is what you have to be careful around. So this we will leave everything like this. The mode is simple, and what you have to do is the recording path is set right here. Okay, so you can actually select where your recording go and are saved. Okay, so if you go hit on the browse button, you can actually determine the path where the recording of your videos are saved. And I'll say set this recording format to MKV format. Though most video editors don't allow MP4 format, MKV format is quite recoverable if your CPU takes up a load and maybe it crashes or something. MKV formats are actually a bit recoverable than the MP4 formats. And we'll leave this encoder as X24, but if you have an graphics card that supports NVENC encoders, you can select that, or maybe hardware that allows you for AMD encoding, then maybe you can select that. But for most computer, X264 should be fair enough. Keep the settings as it is. Then then the next tab is the audio tab. You don't have to play around this tab, and you don't have to play around this tab, so please leave it as it is. The next is the video tab. This is actually what you will be recording into. So basically I have set the base canvas resolution as 1920, and I have set the output resolution as to 1920 x 1080. This is basically what your canvas resolution is. So this is 1920 is to 1080p, and what the output means, what I am going to record is also going to be in 1920 to 1080p. The downscale filter is basically if I'm going to have this as maybe to set to 720p, or even if maybe 480p, that is when this downscale filter is going to be working. This is going to use a filter, an algorithm, to change everything that is being recorded in 1080p and scale it down to 480p. I'll leave this to 1080p for now. The next thing that you will see is the common FPS values. If you don't see common FPS values, click on this whatever button you will be seeing over here and hit on common FPS values. From there you need to select a value from 10 to 60. 30 works fine for most of the recordings, but if you're going to recording games at high FPS, you need to select 60. 30 seems good for most computers. Keep it 30. The next tab is hotkey. Hotkey tab is something that you don't need to play around with much, but this is basically going to be those keys that allow you to start recording and pause recording, or maybe even start streaming and stop streaming. You can actually use this to set a lot of things on your computer. Then next is the advanced tab. This is something you don't have to do a lot, but if possible, go into the recording section and select automatically remux to MP4. So if this is checked, your files that would be recorded in MKV format, or maybe even any other format that you have set in the video, in the output tab over here, I have set mine to MKV. So if I click on automatically remux to MP4, my video recording will automatically get converted to MP4, which is allowed by most video editing softwares in order to edit. So this is pretty much what you have to do, and please don't change any other settings. You don't have to change any other settings. This is basically what you will be needing. This is pretty much how you will be recording, and I don't think we need anything else, but the comment section is always open if you have any doubts. That is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.